Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. So we need 2 more victories with Mage and then we're done with this recording session. So let's try custom Mage, or should we try a wild Mage? Let's try wild Mage. I guess that works. A decent amount of things still to talk about here in 30 minutes. I'm a little surprised that nobody who I've subscribed to has yet put out a Skyrim video. I wonder if there's some reason for that. Maybe the graphics are so high and the internet upload speed's so low that it will take several hours. We're past the point now when it should have been out. So
you asked for
and I
it.
preloaded it. This is actually the first time I've ever even known you could preload anything on Steam. So that's new to me. Maybe what's really weird is my Stardew Valley series, which is a very short series because I just didn't like the farming in Stardew Valley. It started today, so if I had just not aired that at all, then that would have been probably a good idea. YGig, also known as 802.11 AD, is moving here to be a standard. Now, the thing about 802.11 AD, 802 well, I'm not gonna even get into that. It transmits at 60 Hertz, theoretically up to 8 gigabits per second on, let's see, as a distance of about 10 meters. So, and it pretty much needs to be direct line of sight. Most frequencies are at 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz on Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi that we know on fans, and that's a really good frequency to go through walls and to go a long distance. This one at 60 hertz can't really go anywhere because that frequency is just not good about going through objects. Because the waves are so big.
So many options.
If I'm explaining that right, maybe I'm not. So what is this Wi-Fi good for? It seems like it's really fast and all, but if it can't go through a wall, you'd have to have the router in your room, and if you have the router in your room, you might as well just turn around and have it wired and go even faster, because you can get 10 gigabits per second theoretically, at least on the new standard, through wired just Ethernet. In theory, you can continuously push that up for quite a while, I would say. The reason why this might be interesting is that if it's a standard for wireless transmission of data, it might work very well on a wireless transmission of video to things like virtual reality headsets, potentially even maybe TVs and monitors. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Do you really need a wireless monitor? Probably not.
Thank you.
Unless it's a headset, but one of the major things with the Oculus Rift, one of the major problems with the Vive, major problem with PSVR, is they all have ridiculously large amounts of wires and connections that are still there. If all of that goes away and it's purely wireless and there's no risk of tripping, and if this in some other ways helps also, that would be nice. So it's nice to have a standard too, certainly, because the Wii U had wireless video getting transmitted to it, and that wasn't particularly a standard, and thus the Wii U didn't that Wii U controller probably won't see see much use in the modding community or anything like that. It's not like I could go get a Wii controller and then turn around and use that for use it on my PC. Speaking of which, Microsoft has announced a virtual reality headset. I think it's a virtual reality headset. It's not like the Vive, so it doesn't have any like sensors and towers on the outside. So it's not like the PlayStation VR that uses the camera. It's not like the Vive that uses the lighthouses. And I believe the Oculus Rift doesn't have any sensors on the outside. So it's most like that. But it's going to be sold through partners starting at $299, so the price is already going down, which is nice to see. But Microsoft also announced an interesting $3,000 touchscreen monitor thing called the Surface Design Creator Studio or something like that, Surface Pro something. It's a big old 30-inch touchscreen, and it looks awesome. I would love to have something like that. I'd love more, particularly to have an artist working for me, so I could give something like that to them. Of course, if I could afford it. But $3,000 is a lot for a built-in PC, and I kind of hope that that thing is a full PC built in, but I also kind of hope that they make a USB version for a lot cheaper that where I could just plug in USB 3.0 to it and plug HDMI into it, and then that would be it. And I'd plug it into a much more powerful computer. And hopefully that thing would last a lot longer than
light shall bring
4 or 5 years.
You asked for it.
Monitors, in my case, last pretty long. I guess I'll just keep those. And so I would hope that lasts long. Also, I'm kind of getting away from buying monitors in general. It's more of a better move, I feel, to start buying 4K monitors and TVs. I think that's really where it's going to go, and we're going to start seeing a merging of the two technologies anyway, where TVs become the monitors and monitors become the TV, and they're all going to have like 120 hertz refresh ratios or 240 hertz refresh ratios as standards. High HDR, high dynamic range is a big issue that I want to see. So I'm expecting quite a bit.
You have been measured and found
Of
wanting.
improvements in the next generation of monitors / TVs I buy. And I have too much TVs in my house at this point. Because my lifestyle has changed a lot for the YouTube channel, I have a 60-inch TV that I don't use at all. I could bring it into the room I'm recording in, but it really wouldn't fit on the wall very well, and it would be a hassle. I have an old 720 TV that's ready to be given away or gotten rid of. I don't even have cable connected to it. I really only a couple of years ago moved into my new house, and it was equipped in a very old-fashioned way of thinking of having a TV in every room. And in those 2 years, it's become pretty apparent that that's just not the way people are doing things anymore. TVs are becoming less and less prevalent, or you just have one in one room. I've always been kind of on the edge of having one in every room anyways. I don't think that's super common. It probably is about 50-50. Never put a TV in a bathroom, but I might having so many extras. Same is true with the surround sounds and such. It's just Let's see, deal 3 damage and freeze it. Or freeze a character.
Unworthy.
Destroy a frozen minion. That would be crazy if Shadow worked on the hero. Freeze him, destroy him for 3 mana. That would be crazy. So, yeah. I am looking to get a 4K, maybe even an 8K HDR screen. Very possibly it's not going to be anything super big though. Very possible it's just going to be a 30-inch or slightly higher than that to fit what I have. Getting a larger screen even in my situation may not even be the best thing. It may just make text smaller. The fact is 4K or 8K certainly will do that unless it's just in a scaling 1080p mode, which also means I'd need a video card that would do it. It's actually very early to even think about getting a TV because even if I get the 1080 video card, I'm still really only able to play games at 1080p or the 1080p. So that upgrading for some other reasons probably doesn't make the most amount of sense. Freeze a character and then destroy it? I think so. Freeze and smash. Someone has modded Sega games to play with their feet. It must have been a slow news day when that thing came out. It's been kind of a slow news day, but I don't have my boards completely full of things to talk about, but it's 3/4 of the way full. So it is always nice that somebody has already done that work, because my fear always is that arthritis will get me, or I'll lose my hands, they'll fall off some other way, and I might want to play with feet, but it would be incredibly devastating, and it would really put an end to my video game playing lifestyle if I lost my hands. And frankly, it would put an end to a lot of my lifestyle. It would be huge, devastating things, and hopefully it doesn't ever happen, but maybe it wouldn't be the end. Maybe I could play with my feet. Some of the really old games. I don't know if you can play the new games that way. I'm still very much hoping for, at some point in my lifetime, a brain interface controller, but if that ever did happen, where I could just think and the mouse and everything would move perfectly, my mind at that point, I may be so old that it still doesn't work that well. Speaking of VR, turns out sharing a VR headset has been spreading optical herpes, and I imagine a ton of other diseases too. So I would not personally suggest, if you were at a convention,
a tale of
that
terrible tragedy.
That you try VR at all. I wouldn't stick that thing anywhere near me.
You will pay.
It's going to a convention in general is kind of just asking the fates to make you sick, and maybe not just a general con flu. Maybe really, really sick, or maybe something that you cannot recover from.
On with the show! You will pay!
So, yeah, I would not use that. Even in my own house, having a VR headset, you're going to have a lot of people in your life that are going to want to use it, and I'm not sure I'd even want to use that. The idea of having this thing in front of your eyes is a dark, kind of holding in moisture, Usually there's foam around the eyes catching germs. It's a very intimate connection you're making with somebody. I suppose if the Virtual Boy ever caught on, then that would have been the same issue there too. But
Well played.
I guess luckily for all involved, it didn't catch on. And the final thing I have to talk about is built-in streaming is coming to Windows 10 because Microsoft bought another company. I think Microsoft was doing an announcement on several things that they're coming out with and such. And let's play again. And the Surface stuff is interesting. There was a tablet that's on sale. It's a Chinese tablet. It's still $160, and I want to replace my tablet, definitely. But I want it to have a nice big screen, and I would prefer to only pay about $120 for a refurbished model. But it was Windows 10/Android 2, and that's an interesting thought. But right now I have the Nook HD Plus, the most recent actual Nook thing that wasn't just a Samsung tablet combined. And it's been going well for me for what little I use it for. But I would eventually like to upgrade it. But whatever. I may end up upgrading it to the same thing. I like something with potentially a replaceable battery. Something with a standard charger instead of a very weird charger that's proprietary for the Nook. But mostly I just want I want it to be the size of a big book. And that's what the screen is. It's almost the size of a piece of paper. So how long have we been going? We've been going about 17 minutes. We have about one more victory we need to get done, and I don't have a lot to talk about. I need to start trying to do Skyrim. Let's see. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff going on today. If I start doing Skyrim, I need to also get the pinball effects finished. But then I also need to decide what I'm going to do with that. And I think I'm also going to end up having to take the road. And I'm not sure I can even rate. An urgent call to the bathroom is approaching me as I lean left and right in the chair uncomfortably. I may very well just lose this game and pause the recording and then come back. Yeah, I think I have to. So we'll just go ahead and concede here instead of making the people sit there and play against nobody. And I'll end the recording and we'll combine it with the next one in a few minutes. And we're back. That is certainly the fact that I really can't even go in some recordings for the 30 minutes is not a good sense without taking a bathroom break. It's certainly probably not the healthiest person in the world, obviously.
Jaina versus Uther. I will.
In part, I think a lot of it is I've actually been on a weird, almost liquid diet thing that certainly doesn't help. Meal replacement shakes type thing, which I don't know how honest and committed I am to it, but it is actually kind of cheaper than buying meals a lot of times too. So it's almost a diet to save money, which usually is the exact opposite of the case. Of usually when you start eating healthy, it costs you more. But there is also a problem of just talking too much and exerting myself too much. There's really a whole limit. Let's see. Deal 4 damage to frozen character. I'm gonna save that now. Yeah, sitting here trying to record for 3 hours straight, or even 2 hours straight, my voice gets worn out and such. This one.
Job's done.
And noble sacrifice.
Get down!
Darn it. We need one more victory here, and that's all we really need. We don't have a lot. We don't have anything to talk about. I don't even know why I'm gonna exaggerate there. I don't have anything to talk about at all. Just timing and scheduling and trying to figure out how to get the end cards scenes on all of my old videos. Let's see, this up here. I don't know what I'm really going to talk too much about Skyrim. I think Skyrim has a slight advantage in that the people you the conversations can be mostly accelerated. It's not like a lot of reading. Yes, I know Skyrim has all those books, but I'm just gonna, as I have to do in any RPG, pick up those books, look at them, and get the knowledge from them, and then not ever read them. I'm not gonna try to hoard. I'm not gonna try to do everything. I'm gonna mostly try to stay on the main story path, unless I run into an issue of it actually being impossible to move forward at this current level. Ideally, I'm going to try to be underleveled. This is going to be the exact opposite of trying to do something like a all level 100 experience. I don't think there's anything that increases your knowledge by getting a unlockable ability. I do know there's a couple of places there. Like, I've watched other people, like a quick start guide at the very beginning. I don't know how much I'm going to remember or even try that, because hardly going to try to play perfectly. I want to really try to make this be more like a average player's first experience of what the game is like. Although in reality it's going to be somebody who played Skyrim when it first came out like 5 years ago and see if it's really worth this. And in playing Skyrim, I am certainly kind of putting the nail in the coffin about ever playing Fallout 4.
None of your business.
There's actually still a great argument to play Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas before playing Fallout 4. And
feeling chilly.
So that is also something to think about. And then that gives a binge to that guy. And hit this. And hit this. Oh. Bethesda's published games are getting too high. I would like to go back and play the remake of Doom. That's certainly kind of on the list of, like, go back and maybe do a spotlight on Doom 1, Doom 2, Ultimate Doom, whatever you can actually get on Steam to run. And then compare that to the entire single player of the of the main game, of the remake, but that's probably very far off. I'm falling further and further behind as they make more and more games, and I need more time. And I don't know when that big tavern brawl is supposed to happen. They haven't announced it. So I'm still probably gonna spend 1,000 gold and waste it, but only for once. I can practically swear right now, if they do a huge tavern brawl that's really gambly like this more than once, I'm not gonna do it. Even if it gets me a lot of views, it's gonna have to get me so many views that it pays for the $10, and that would be practically 100 to 500,000 views on my videos. Barely get 2, 3, 4, and that's just a rough estimate. Anyways, we finished the quest. We have nothing left to talk about, and this recording combined with the previous recording will make a single episode, so we are done. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.